Hey everyone, do you want to learn how to do a slide tackle properly while getting the ball cleanly? If that's the case, make sure you watch the rest of this video. There's a few things I want to emphasize before we get on with actually showing you how to do a slide tackle. One, be careful when slide tackling. You can hurt yourself if you don't do it properly. Two, you should only be using this technique, slide tackling, as a last resort. This should not be something you're doing all the time for a few reasons. One, you can hurt someone if you don't do it properly, and you can hurt yourself. And two, it's a very risky tackle to do. It really is a last-ditch tackle. You have to be pretty sure you're going to get the ball when you decide to slide tackle. Having said that, just make sure you're safe with it. Make sure that you're tackling without showing your studs if possible. That's what makes this very dangerous. And also only be using this as a last resort, but it's a great skill to know because you will have to use it at some point. Okay, so when we do perform a slide tackle, we want to make sure that we get the ball first. So if this is the man and the ball is on the other side and I'm going to have to slide around and get the ball, you're going to want to wrap your foot around the ball and take the ball pushing it out that way. So let me move this back. So as an example, kind of like that. You'll notice when I'm doing it, I'm using this part of my foot in order to kick the ball away from the opponent. You never ever want to go in with your studs showing. For two reasons. One, and the most important reason, is you can seriously injure someone if you go in with your studs at high speed. And two, that's basically giving the referee no choice but to send you off with a red card. So again, we want to come up to the side of our opponent. We don't want to go through them if the cone is the opponent. We don't want to be too far wide. We want to be enough to the side where we can get our leg around and get the ball first. So if we're coming in a little slowly, you're kind of down, you're using your other leg to kind of slide on it here, and you come in like this. At fast pace, it looks a lot different. It's better when it's wet, but it would look like this. Now, that one wasn't actually the best one, but the whole point is, especially when you're running side by side with your man and you think you need to slide in order to prevent them from crossing, shooting, or gaining the advantage and you have no choice, you need to make sure that one, you're side by side with them. If you're behind them, directly behind them, it's going to be almost impossible to get that ball cleanly, and it's too much of a risk to slide at that point. You need to be, even if they're a little in front of you, you need to be at their side. And two, you need to make sure you kind of come around. You can't just go straight with your legs. Your leg has to come around and take the ball and push it out to the side. If you go straight with it, there's more chance you're going to get him with your studs or get her with your studs, and that's just going to lead to a foul and potentially a card for you, and that always can lead to injuries as well, and you don't want that. So remember, the whole point of a slide tackle is a last resort tackle. It's a tackle that you really shouldn't be making that many times in the game, but it is necessary to know just in case you need to make a last-ditch challenge. Notice how I say last-ditch, meaning last thing that you could possibly do to stop your opponent. So remember, when performing these, we want to make sure we're using proper technique, because it's very dangerous to use improper technique when you're doing something as risky as sliding, one, for your safety and for your opponents. We don't want to go out there hurting our opposition players. So remember, no studs. Don't show your studs. That is the most dangerous thing you can do. That is like one of the number one causes of injury. It's not the number one. The number one is usually when nothing seems to happen but a player pulls a hamstring or something. But it's one of the most gruesome ways of receiving an injury, and it's just going to get you in trouble. So you don't want to do that. Remember, when you come across to take the ball, you're using the top of your foot. You're not using your studs or anything near the bottom of your foot. Every time that you slide in, you're going to be using the side, the outside, or the top of your foot. So I'll show you a few more slides. It is a little harder on this surface. It's a bit dry out, so it's a lot easier to slide when it's just rained. Professional pitches, actually, if you don't know, before games, very soon, like 15 minutes before games, might be a little sooner, further back than that, they water the pitches so that it's slick for sliding and so the ball can travel, and they do it at halftime as well. So I'm going to try and show you and slide the best I can with the conditions I have, but Just watch my technique and remember that I'm going in with the top of my foot like this, and I'm not going to show my studs at all. All right, guys, so I'm going to leave it there. It's kind of tearing up my leg, but you get the basic idea. Let's just remember the fine points of this. Don't show your studs. Do not go in with your studs. That's a one-way ticket to a card and injury. 2, make sure that you come in from the side, not directly behind them, because if you do, you're going to take them out. If you try and go from behind them and wrap your foot all the way around, you're just going to get the man before the ball, and you're going to be called for that. And slide tackles tend to have this habit of looking much worse than they really are if you foul a person when sliding. So be careful of that. Remember, wrap around, and the idea is to kick the ball away from your opponent so they lose possession. You can work on winning the ball completely later as you get better at it, but for now, just practice on knocking the ball out of your opponent's possession, because remember, this is a last-ditch tackle, so in most situations where you're going to need this, just getting the ball out of your opponent's possession should be enough. Alright guys, I hope you liked the video. If you're new to Simply Soccer, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We release 3 to 4 videos every single week that are designed to help you improve as a player, and I would love for you to join our community here. Also, leave in the comments any time where you've successfully completed a slide tackle, or where you've had a not so good thing happen when you've attempted a slide tackle as well. Alright guys, be sure to hit the like button on this video. Practice your slide tackles, but don't use them too much in games, and I'll see you on the next video.